Hey, shalom, shalom, manak na waha bar shala walakim la thumb. Call shaboy baharacha wakak shal yahoo basham yahoo shot ma'amat, which is truly, hey, with the Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shah, to preach to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, Haitians, Israelite foreigners. Nacham atham kaya hamalak wathashemayim korab, repent ye, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Call Layim La, Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shah, Bahasham Racha HaKodash, Wamashana Kabadim Zukoyim Nawa, Wamalakim Shoya Shalaz Zukoyim Racha Gadawa, Wachasa, Washalawam, Wabrakim, Laha Bachayim, Shah Gawiyah Shah Shalawam. So all praise to the Most High Yahweh, which means He exists. Bahasham, in the name Yahweh Shai delivers. Double honor to the elders and apostles of Israel, the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, and mercy, peace, and blessings to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom, which means peace. So this is an article in RT. It reads, U.S. military veterans tell family members not to enlist. WSJ, the nation's recruiting crisis has reportedly deepened as current and former troops discourage their loved ones from joining. You see, so why, for so long, people were like super, I guess, avid enlisters. They really would encourage people to join the military, you see. But now you even have, like I said, former and current troops, discouraging people from joining, you see. So that creates a kingdom that's divided. I'm gonna get a quick precept, because you have like higher ups and stuff, they love to stay in, or they love the military atmosphere. But you have, like, we're talking about enlisting, so you have like enlisted folks that they're telling pretty much the driving force of the military is like the enlistees, because you have more enlisted than what you have officers, you see. So being that you have less workers and you got upper being that you have supervisors that they love their job, and you have like enlistees, they have a shortage of enlistees, that can create some issues, and that can create division amongst the ranks, and I want to get this quick precept. This is Yeshaya, Isaiah chapter 19 and verse 2. It says, I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. And pretty much what we see here is that division, Egyptian against Egyptian, because as we're going to go into this article, it's going to talk about like why. It talks about the pay. It talks about the suicidal ideations in here somewhere. Well, I'm going to continue on. It says the U.S. military's recruiting woes have reportedly intensified as current and former troops increasingly advise their family members against enlistment, weakening a tradition of multi-generational service. You see, because before, people was like super avid about, hey, you should go enlist. You'll be able to like have the benefits. You get your car, the little the Hellcat, stuff like that. It says that has historically been the nation's primary source of new soldiers from the multi-generational service. Because like before, people be like, oh, you should join the military. Either go to the military or go to college. It says veterans have soured, or so whatever that word is, soared on recommending that loved ones follow in their footsteps in the face of a tight labor market and rising concerns over low pay, debilitating injuries, suicides, and indecisive wars. Indecisive wars, pretty much. Well, all of these are pretty much coming together to where they're telling like, hey, yeah, don't join the service, and if you don't have any more, any enlistees, what's going to drive the military? If you don't have any workers, you see, what's going to be the driving force? What's going to be the backbone? You see. Let me get a quick precept, because this also ties into this. This is a Quahalaf Ecclesiastes chapter 12, and we'll get verse 3. It says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, which that goes into the economists, all right, and also the elites. It says, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinders cease because they are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened. and the grinding is ceasing in Babylon. All right, they're closing down businesses, but then also the grinding is ceasing because they can't. Ain't nobody trying to enlist. You see, so being that you got a whole bunch of chiefs, but not enough Indians, so to speak. You got a whole bunch of leaders going into the supervisory roles, but then you don't have nobody to be the backbone or the driving force of your enterprise, and the enterprise being the military. All right, now going back, it says the WSJ report on Friday, the recruiting crisis also comes amid controversy over the Pentagon's prioritization of left-wing issues such as genderism and critical race theory. Further adding into that Egyptian against Egyptian, you see, because being that you got people with different ideologies, that's not going to coincide well. It's going to be a lot of infighting. It says the sudden end of the Afghanistan war in August 2021 added to the consternation of some current or former troops, such as the U.S. Navy veteran Catalina Gasper. The WSJ said, "We were left with the gut-wrenching feeling. What was it all for?" said Gasper, who still suffers from traumatic brain injury incurred during a Taliban attack on her base in Kabul. She vowed to do all she could to make sure her children never join the military. "I just don't see how sustainable if the machine keeps chewing up and spitting out our young people." And that's another way that Rome fell. They overworked the working class. You see, it says likewise U.S. Air Force officer, and that's pretty much how that's how Rome fell. You see, but that's pretty much how Babylon, they're taking on that way of Rome. This is Rome 2.0. You see, they're overworking the working class. And that's pretty much Esau's MO. He has the little cheese or the dollar on a stick, and he has for the majority, most people on a treadmill, and they're chasing that cheese. It says likewise, U.S. Air Force officer Ernest Nisperos decided that he did not want his children to join the military after realizing the toll that his deployments took on him. One of his daughters, Sky Nisperos, said that after years of dreaming about following her father and grandfather into military service, she would instead become a graphic designer. One event that stuck in her mind came during a 2019 family trip to Disneyland after her father returned from a deployment to Afghanistan. During the nightly fireworks show, he cowered in a fetal position while his family looked on. Diminishing enthusiasm for enlistment among veterans is a troubling trend for the Pentagon because the vast majority of new troops come from military families. In fact, nearly 80% of U.S. Army recruits have family members who have served in the military. The Army fell 25% short of its recruiting quota last year and forecasts a similar shortfall for 2023. The Navy, which has a goal of 38,000 enlistments this year, reportedly may miss its target by as many as 10,000 this year after posting a 3,000 recruit shortfall in 2022. You see, so they're going to have to enact a draft. And they got this nastiness right here. It says Pentagon used drag influencer to attract recruits, man. Come on now. Like, they using a drag influencer, but then you're going to have that in your military. You see, having that in your society is disgusting, you see. But say that they was promoting, or they are promoting that, but say that they're promoting this, that's only going to push for more of them to join the ranks, you see. And it's going to add to that, that those mental health issues, you see, because it's been instances to where, those types of individuals, the environment of the military, they can't take it, so they want to get out, But continuing on, it says the Pentagon faces a shallow recruiting pool, given that more than 7 in 10 young Americans are made ineligible for military service by issues like obesity, drug use, and mental illness. Hey, America deals with with a lot of fat people, It says drug use. A lot of people use drugs, mental illness. And a lot of it has to do with this westernization. I'm gonna get a quick precept. This is Proverbs chapter 5 and verse 5. It says, I'm gonna read from verse 1. It says, "My son, attend unto my wisdom, and bow thine ear to understanding, that thou mayest regard discretion, and that thy lips may keep knowledge. For the lips of a strange woman drop as a honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil." Hey, so this wine, this philosophy of America, Babylon the Great, it's gonna come to you super subtly, because Esau uses that deception. It says, "But her end is bitter as wormwood, and sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps take hold on hell." All right, so following this path is a path of death. All right, it only leads to death. And the reason I wanted to bring that out is because that's pretty much America in a nutshell. Obeseness, drug use, and mental illness. All right, that's what trusting in a society gets you: obesity, drug use, mental illness, and many, many more. But for taking on those death style ways. It says the WSJ cited a Pentagon poll indicating that only 9%, and some of those ways is obeseness. All right, the food over excessive eating, unsatiable diet, which can cause mental illness. All right, you in taking all these foods, they putting them chemicals in them foods. All right, then it says drug use. Drug use is at an all-time high because of the things that they push here. They put the woman over the man and the man under the woman, you see, and that does something mentally. All right, and a lot of more things. That's why it says mental illness. All right, it says the WSJ cited a Pentagon poll indicating that 9% of 16 to 21-year-olds were considered joining the military, down from 13% before the pandemic. Reports of shoddy housing, subpar medical care, and physical abuse contribute to the problem, the WSJ noted. Financial struggles are also concerning, as reflected in fact that more than 20,000 active duty troops receive food stamps to keep families from going hungry. That's crazy because active duty, they make somewhat of decent money, but being that you're not even supplying food to your troops, that says something, so that's why a lot of people don't want to enlist. It says, well, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the point. I'm gonna read this quote. It says, "Parents have concerns about, hey, if my kids join the military, are they going to have good places to live?" Secretary of Army Christine Wormuth said, if my kid joins the military, are they going to be sexually harassed, or are they going to be more prone to suicidal ideations? All right, and a lot of these concerns, is really stuff just or inclusive to America. You see, like the individuals that enlist overseas, they're not necessarily worried about first world problems, so to speak. They're coming in America, Babylon the Great. It's a lot in America, Babylon the Great. They're coming from that westernization lifestyle. You see, so they worried about things that don't necessarily matter. Which I'm not saying that the suicidal ideations and then the sexually harassed part is something that you shouldn't worry about. But what I'm trying to say is pretty much they're putting women in the military with men, which you shouldn't do that because that's gonna create issues. All right, and then how life is over here in America, Babylon the Great. You see, so that people pretty much take that ideology and they put it into that military. You see, which I'm not saying I'm an advocate of someone to join the military, but that's just one of the reasons why this place is going down. The scriptures say that the scripture says that Babylon shall become as women. All right, it's becoming as women because of what's pushed over here. You see, I'm gonna get a precept real fast. This is Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 37. It says, a sword is upon their houses and upon their chariots and upon all the mingled people that are in the midst of her. All right. And that's how you know it's America, Babylon the Great, because this place is known as the melting pot. It says, and upon all the people, the mingled people that are in the midst of her, and they shall become as women. A sword is upon her treasures, and they shall be robbed, and the woman is the weaker vessel. Now, let me get another one. Because what does it mean by becoming woman? This is 1 Peter 3 and 7. We get the word for weaker vessel, or for weaker. It says weak and firm, feeble is talking about the woman. It says literally, all right, this place is literally becoming as woman. You got dudes dragging, you know. It says figurative, all right, it's figuratively weak, all right, and then morally, this place has no morals. You see, it's literally becoming weak because they can no longer fund their troops. They don't have any troops. They don't have any driving force, the backbone of their enterprise. You see those that's in the lower enlisted, or the enlisted. You see, so they're literally becoming weak. They're figuratively becoming weak. All right, when you look at these nations, you see they're mounting up, and they got, you know, a couple months ago you had one of them countries over in the east. You know, they had like 1 million people enlist to destroy this place. If I'm not mistaken, that's what that the article went into. It said they pretty much they enlisted because they wanted to go to war with the U.S. You see, and morally, this place is becoming weak. It's been weak, but it's only getting worse. Let me get a precept, because the scripture said they shall become as women. This is Isaiah, Yeshaya, chapter 19 and verse 4. No, verse 14. Because they're becoming as women, it says, the Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. All right, so the Lord has mingled a perverse spirit in Egypt, America, Babylon the Great. And that perverse spirit is making these men, you know, or these men are subscribing to being dragged. You see, you got women that that's wanting to be men. You see, everything is just perverse. I'm gonna go into this word perverse. It says warping, distorting, perversity. It says it's a lot. Go to this root word. It says aiwa. It says to twist, to do perversely, to commit iniquity, to be bent, bowed down, to be perverted. So pretty much things that's not supposed to be how they are, that's how they are here in America, Babylon the Great. And that's why this place is being destroyed from the inside, and then it's going to be destroyed from the outside with them nukes, you see. So Adawan Ratazah by Naya Palo is with those a beautiful edification through the spirit. Wow, Adawan Ratazah, a thumb yash like a lot to wab. A Lord's will you have a good night. A shalom, shalom.